Captain's log, stardate 151227. How's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good. Before we get too far, I have a greeting I need to play.
Oh, Merry Christmas from Commander. Love Dr. Baker. To you, Captain, big, McLarge, huge, over at Prosper. I hope Santa's been good to you, and I hope he's been good to your entire family. From the Love Doctor to you, I salute. Enjoy, and cheers and beers.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm very appreciative of your message. And to you, I give you the Prosper salute. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to give some love to my mother for sending me a Christmas tree. I've had this thing in my family for years, and it didn't seem right to not have a tree up for this one. So I asked for it. I got it. Thank you so much, Mom, for sending that. I really appreciate it. Now, let's kick this bad boy off. Despite me being on the wagon for a little bit,
the weather outside.
this entry is brought to you by the folks over at FILO Liquors in Abilene, Yeehaw, Texas.
Make it so.
Good people.
Make it so.
They took care of all our booze needs while we were there.
Signs of stopping.
Merry Christmas, you guys. And for those of you that don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays.
Lights turn way down below.
What you're hearing is
Make it so. Make it so.
what you're hearing is a mashup of different quotes
Good night.
to make up "Let It Snow,"
I hate
the next
going
generation
out
version.
in the storm. But if you
Really?
shut up, Wesley. All the way home, hubby.
Poor Wesley Crusher.
Oh,
Oh.
the fire is slowly dying. And I hear
One,
We're still goodbye.
scratch that.
But
Tea, hot.
you love me some. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
Drinking some Twinings herbal tea. Kapla! That's pretty good. And, of course, not to be outdone, George Takei, Mr. Sulu, from the original, put out his own Christmas song. I'd be remiss if I didn't play it.
This is Lieutenant Sulu of the Starship Enterprise, standing by on the bridge with the Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Sorry, folks. I would have been totally remiss if I did not include that in this one. All right, let's see. Got to start this thing out right, the proper way. Got to start it out with the birthdays. First birthday of the week goes to a very, very dear friend of mine. I knew her back in high school. After I graduated, I saw her here and there. My friend Jessica Driscoll. I knew her as Jessica Webb. Jessica, my dear, I hope you had a happy birthday. I hope it was a good one. And to you, I drink, in this case, a non-alcoholic beverage. All right. Next on the list, it's actually a guy. He was fan number, I want to say he was fan number 250. I've had 260, several more fans since then. But this guy was a milestone fan of the show, of the page, Trevor Calcum. Trevor, my friend, what's going on? I hope your birthday was a good one. I hope you had a happy holiday. And you know what? I'm going to drink to you, bud. All right, next on the list. A guy I actually work with here. Earth Station, Okinawa. Good kid. Good kid. Got a good head on his shoulders. Alan Lawson. Alan, my friend, how's it going? Hope you had a good birthday. Hope things were good. I hope it was good to you. Hey, you know what? I shall also drink. All right. Next up. Guy I know. I actually knew him from Germany. dear friend, good guy. Talking about Jay Kelly. Jay, what's up, my friend? I hope Bernie spoiled you on your special day. If not, let me know. I'll fly over there and I'll attempt to talk some good language into her. Yeah, okay. But hey, Jay, my friend, happy birthday to you, man. Alright. Next on the list, another guy, believe it or not, I work with here at Earth Station Okinawa. Born on Christmas Day, James Johnson. Yo, JJ, what's going on, man? How you doing? See, your Panthers are still perfect. I actually hope they keep it up. I really do. I would like to see a perfect team go into the Super Bowl and come out perfect. I have a feeling this team could do it. But at the same... I'll get into it later. But hey, JJ, happy birthday. Alright, next on the list. Sweet gal I actually graduated high school with. I knew her as Sarah Brewer. She now goes by Sarah Fowler. Sarah, my dear, how are you? How's things going? I hope you had a good birthday. And you know what? I drink to you, my dear. Alright, next on the list. Excuse me. While I was home last month, I actually had the honor and privilege of marrying this young man and his wife, Christian Polenko. Christian, what's up, bud? How's things going? Hope you're doing okay. I did send off that certificate in case you were wondering. I'm just kidding. I told you I would. Hey, Christian, happy birthday, bud. And the final birthday for the week. Friend of mine, another guy I work with, believe it or not, here at Earth Station Okinawa. I got a lot this week. Reed Snyder. Reed, my friend, happy birthday. I hope your birthday was a good one. And you know what? I'm going to drink to you like I've been drinking to everybody else. Alright, birthdays extended. Now, we had us a little bit of a douchebag episode this week. Pardon my language, but I'm going to explain it. I have a friend, Loreley de la Lune. That's her right there. She's changed her hair color since then. But my friend Loreley, good gal, she's a good girl, good all the way around. She had this dude attack her personally. Now, I took notice of this, and I was like, this ain't happening. So, I managed to get a hold of a group of people via their guy that goes by Watchdog. Now, I'm talking about this group of people, pardon my language, but this is their name. These people are the withables. If you have a problem and you need help and you can find them, you can hire the withables. This group of people, I think there's 5 of them. This group of people, if you let them know, hey, I got an issue with some idiot on Facebook, they will find him. They will mess him up. Find these guys. I'm going to post a link. I'm going to tag them in the post. And by all means, look them up. Get in touch with them. And they will set you guys straight. But you 5, Watchdog, thank you so much for helping out my friend Loreley. And I drink to you. Alright, now I got that out of the way. Want to give some love to FILO Liquors, unofficial sponsor of this week's entry. You guys are awesome. Good crew out there. Think the world of you. You know what? I give you guys the prosper salute and keep taking care of everybody the way you have been. All right, now we had a couple winners in this week's Identify This. I only had a couple entries. It was a shorter week, so I went with a few less entries. I wanted you to identify the program. But there was some more to it. I wanted you to identify the program. And yes, this was a hollow program. I wasn't wasn't going for the series that this was off of. I was going for the holo program. This is the Emergency Medical Hologram Mark II, as the doctor encountered when he made a trip back to the Alpha Quadrant. And my friend Alexander Phillips, who came to the page from Beer and Song of the Day, nailed it. Good job, Alex. And the other entry for this week for Identify This, I wanted you to identify the device. Well, this is an autonomous, self-sustaining mobile emitter, or a mobile emitter for short. And who was it? That's right, Evan Brave. Evan, you guys, you nailed it this week. You nailed it. Congratulations to the both of you. Prosper salutes all around, and a swig. All right. A few more greetings to give really quick, and then we can move on. First greeting, or the next greeting. It took me a year to finally meet this guy. You've heard the name before. He's a big old Colts fan, just like I am, living up in mainland Japan. Jesse Rubens. Jesse Broheim, it was good to meet you. Wish we could have had a chance to hang out longer, but I understand you are on a time crunch. I get it. I'm not upset. I'm just glad I had the chance to meet you, brother. And here's hoping I get to do it again someday. And finally, I want to give some love to my neighbors down here, Amber Palmer Cruz and Brooks Dorsey. These two knew the house commander was away on personal business. Excuse me. And invited me to be a part of their holiday celebration this year. Amber, Brooks, I mean this, guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you letting me spend time with you guys, letting me hang out and everything else. And I'm going to drink to you. All right. Now, you know what time it is now, folks. Bear with me just a second. Which one do I want to use? I'll go with this one. That was weird. Football time, folks. This one was weird as there were games 4 nights. But hey, you know what? Week 16, let's go into it. Some decisions were made in different conferences. So let's just do like the Raiders did and go into it running. Chargers-Raiders. I predicted the Raiders were going to win this one, and they did it 23-20 in overtime. Also, Charles Woodson's last home game with Oakland. Scratch that. His last home game, period. That man is retiring at the end of this year. Redskins-Eagles. I went with the Redskins on this one, but I was hoping for the upset. I really was. But the Redskins won it 38-24 against the Chip Kellys. I predicted this one correctly, and I got to congratulate them on clinching the NFC easy. I was hoping they'd lose and the Giants would have a chance, but what can I say? It's just not in the cards. Cheaters-Jets. I got the Cheaters pegged to win this one, but the Jets have been playing very, very good this year. Well, the Jets have been playing good for them. The upset here would not hurt my feelings any, but I'm sitting back looking at it. With the Jets playing as tough as they are and the Cheaters having as many injuries as they do, this one could go either way. This one really could go either way. Texans-Titans. Hands down, the Texans have it. They need to lose this one or the next one for Indy because Indy still has a chance, which I'll get to that in a minute. Browns-Chiefs. Got to go with the Browns. Ain't no way the Browns are going to beat the Chiefs. No way. The Browns are competing with the Lions for first-round draft pick. And the Cowboys, actually. Let's see. Where does that put me? That actually puts me at Colts-Dolphins. I got the Colts pegged to win this one, but I'm honestly doubtful. We are riddled with injuries, and we have not been playing the best football here the second half of the season. Hell, even the first half, we haven't been playing good football the whole year, honestly. Some games we should have won, some games we should have lost. But I do have the Colts pegged to win this one against Miami. Indianapolis needs this win if they have any hopes of getting to the playoffs. We need this one. We need this win, just like Houston needs to lose this one and or the next one. Preferably both, but I'm not going to hold my breath. They're playing the Titans. 49ers, Lions. I've got the 49ers pegged to win this one. The Lions have gotten lucky. This one's my toilet bowl game, folks. Cowboys, Bills. Neither team has playoff hopes, so this one's strictly a home field pick. I'm going with the Bills. Same with this one, Bears, Buccaneers. I got the Bucs pegged to win this one. Panthers, Falcons. I got the Panthers winning this one. Now, like I was saying to JJ earlier in his greeting, I see the Panthers going undefeated and winning it all. I honestly do. But if the Panthers don't go 16-0 in the regular season, this is a team I expect to end the streak. It really is. Steelers, Ravens. I got the Steelers pegged. The Ravens are just too bad. They're just too bad this year. They've already been eliminated from the playoffs. Just talked about them. Jaguars, Saints. Going with the home field pick on this one, too. The Saints. Rams, Seahawks. Go with Seattle on this one. Honestly, Seattle could rest their starters at this point if they wanted to. They're already in the playoffs. Packers, Cardinals. Both teams are good. I think the Cardinals might be better than the Packers in this one. Giants, Vikings. Since the Giants have no more playoff aspirations, I am seriously going with just a home field pick on this one. I'm saying the Vikings are going to win it. I hope I'm wrong, but I am picking the Vikings. Now, this last game, this one's going to be the big one. Bengals, Broncos. I'm saying the Broncos are going to win this one. There are two very good teams looking for the first round bye. This game, I have a feeling this game would be close. This game could go either way, and this one will have serious playoff implications. So I'm saying Denver's going to win this one. Now, I read something earlier today. Actually, our friends over at Beer and Song of the Day, and right now I'm using that term loosely because they brought it to my attention. I'm just kidding. I'm busting your chops. But it turns out that the report has been made that Peyton Manning used HGH, human growth hormones, back in 2011 when he was recovering from surgery. Now, the story read that the HGHs were being sent to his wife Ashley, so as not to have his name attached to it there, and that way he had possible deniability. But I got to looking and I got to thinking about it. Peyton Manning's twins were born in March of 2011. Okay? Ashley may have had a prescription for the HGH. She may have been using them to help the twins. And besides, the collective bargaining agreement for that year wasn't signed until August. So even if it does turn out Peyton Manning was using HGHs, which I doubt he was, it doesn't matter. They weren't illegal yet. So I think this story is a crock of shit, as the late great George Carlin would say. That's all I have to say about that. And let us move to this week in Trek history. If I can get it pulled up. Here we go. December 21st, 1992. Chain of Command Part 2 airs. Now, why am I bringing that one up? Easy. That was the last solo episode of Star Trek to air until 1999. By that, I mean Chain of Command Part 2 aired. The next episode of Star Trek to air was Deep Space Nine's pilot, Emissary. After that, Deep Space Nine and the Next Generation ran hand in hand. Deep Space Nine had a little 11 episode break in there where it ran by itself till Voyager premiered. But I really don't count it because a series was already in the works for that season, if that makes sense. So I really don't count that one. I really don't count that 11 episode little break in there for Deep Space Nine. December 24th, 1953, Nicholas Meyer was born. Now, he was the director of Star Trek II, he was a writer of Star Trek IV, and he was a writer and the director of Star Trek VI, the even-numbered original series movies, of course. He turned 62, and the last birthday for the week, December 25th, 1945, Rick Berman was born. He was the executive producer of all Star Trek series following Gene Roddenberry's death. He took over the Next Generation. He brought Deep Space Nine on the air. He brought Voyager on the air, and he brought Enterprise on the air. don't think he's going to be involved with the new series in 2017. But he turned 70. And for those of you that celebrate Christmas, December 25th in the year 0, no BC, no AD. This was like DC or something during Christ. Jesus Christ was born. Away in a manger. Happy birthday, baby Jesus. You would be 2015 plus 33. You'd be 2,048 years old if you were still alive today. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, let us move into the data banks for the week. This week's entry, the Enterprise incident. Oh, folks, that's a spoiler alert. The following segment contains spoilers of plot details. You have been warned. Captain Kirk, as of late, has been showing signs of increasing tension and emotional stress. On the bridge, Chekhov shows him an analysis which Kirk dismisses very abruptly. Kirk demands an updated sensor scan from Spock, who reports nothing. Suddenly, Kirk knowingly orders a course change directly into the Romulan neutral zone. As Spock continues his sensor scans, which reveal nothing. As Scotty comes onto the bridge, wanting to know when the orders came through to cross the neutral zone. Suddenly, a Klingon ship decloaks, to which Spock reports that the Romulans are using Klingon design. Suddenly, 2 more ships appear, surrounding the Enterprise. Excuse me. Kirk orders a coded message be sent to Starfleet Command with the ship's current status and log entries. Before Spock can explain what happened, the Romulans hail them and demand their surrender. Kirk deduces the Romulans want the Enterprise and threatens to destroy the ship should the Romulans tend to board. Sub-Commander Tal gives the Enterprise 1 hour to decide, stating that destruction will be certain at that point. In the briefing room, Spock states that the Romulans have developed an improved cloaking device which renders the starship sensors useless. Kirk summarizes they have 3 choices. They can fight or be destroyed, or they can destroy the ship themselves, or they can surrender. Spock calls Kirk out for needing their help now, since he got them into the mess. As McCoy speaks up, Kirk dismisses him. The Romulans request Kirk and Spock beam over to the flagship, who will in turn transport 2 officers to the Enterprise. They agree to simultaneous exchange of hostages. In the transporter room, Kirk gives Scotty final orders to fight and destroy the ship themselves should Kirk and Spock not return. Aboard the Romulan vessel, they're being escorted to the Romulan commander. They exchange superficial courtesies as she tells Spock to wait outside. The commander suspects Kirk's on a mission of espionage, to which Kirk blows off by blaming instrument failure while not admitting to anything. She instructs Spock to enter her office, who is impressed a Vulcan is aboard the Enterprise, to whom the Romulan commander states that the Vulcans are their distant cousins. The 2 exchange clever offhand remarks about each other's species before Spock states that Kirk hasn't been himself. Excuse me. Denying Starfleet ordered the Enterprise into Romulan space, but that it was Kirk himself who gave the order. Kirk goes mad with rage, and is restrained by the 2 guards, shouting that he'll kill Spock. The Romulan commander hails the Enterprise and charges them with espionage. She states that Spock testified against Kirk, who then orders Scott to accompany the fleet to a processing station and eventual release. Scotty immediately hails the Romulans and informs them that he has no intention of following their instructions, threatening to destroy the ship if they attempt to board her. Before being hauled off to their brig, Kirk calls Spock a coward. The commander attempts to sway Spock, asking questions about his career and service to Starfleet. She promises to give Spock a command if he'll betray the Federation. Spock, however, seeing right through her, stating she wants the Enterprise, to which the Romulan commander states would be an achievement of a lifetime. As Kirk is hurled into their brig, he is stunned by their force field. McCoy is ordered aboard the Romulan flagship, examines Kirk, stating he'd recover. As the commander and Spock walk to the brig, she invites him to dinner. Spock makes a turn down a corridor that only loyal Romulans may wander down. As they enter the brig, the commander inquires about Kirk's condition. McCoy tells her nothing she doesn't already know. After a brief exchange, the commander states that Spock's testimony is valid and that Spock is now in command of the Enterprise. McCoy protests, but Spock quiets him down. Kirk snaps out of his daze, charging at Spock. Spock reacts instinctively using the Vulcan death grip and killing Kirk. In the Enterprise sickbay, McCoy has Kirk on a biobed, having left orders that no one enters the chamber. However, Chapel walks in as Kirk comes back to consciousness. McCoy overlooks her disobedience and asks for assistance. Once McCoy tells Kirk what happened, Chapel states there's no such thing as the Vulcan death grip. Kirk explains his actions to McCoy, stating he's the scapegoat if something were to go wrong. Kirk orders McCoy to prepare for surgery. Scotty is shortly thereafter summoned to sickbay in the middle of a tense situation. Scotty agrees, telling McCoy that it better be important. As Scotty walks into sickbay to see a surgically altered Kirk alive, he changes his tune. Kirk orders Scotty to bring him a Romulan uniform, to which Scotty says it'll be a pleasure. Aboard the Romulan ship, the commander serves a spread consisting of Vulcan dishes as she and Spock enjoy a glass of Romulan ale together. That sounds good. Kirk transports aboard the Romulan vessel, claiming he's escaped the Enterprise. A guard challenges him, but Kirk is able to bluff out of it. Spock asks the commander to leave him, who goes off to change out of her uniform. Spock contacts Kirk and informs him the possible location of the cloaking device before being abruptly interrupted. In Command Central, they've detected an alien transmission and narrowed down the source. As Spock proceeds to seduce the commander, Kirk manages to get to the cloaking device room. As Tal arrives and informs the commander that they've narrowed down the location of the alien transmission to her quarters. Spock steps out and shows them his communicator, who then head for the cloaking device. As Kirk gains entry and looks over the cloak, he's accosted by a guard, whom he overpowers quickly. They wrote Romulans dumb. They wrote Klingons dumb, but that's not hard to do. Anyway, I got lost. Kirk disconnects the cloak and effects his escape. Aboard the Enterprise, he passes the device over to Scotty, giving him 15 minutes to install it. As the commander orders a full search of the ship, Spock states that they won't find the device and states where his loyalties lie before inquiring about the Romulans' present form of execution. Scotty works frantically to install the cloaking device as Kirk steps onto the bridge in uniform, however still appearing Romulan. Kirk gives orders for a course home and instructs Chekhov to scan for Spock. The Romulan commander instructs an invasion to begin at her orders. While explaining the procedure for execution, Spock asks for the Romulan right of statement and asks for 20 minutes. As Spock makes his statement, Chekhov is able to find Spock. Scotty has the device installed but doesn't know if it'll work. Kirk orders Spock beamed aboard, but the Romulan commander grabs a hold of him just in time and is transported aboard the Enterprise with him. Kirk orders warp speed as the Romulans pursue them. Scotty reports that the cloak isn't working, who makes more minor adjustments. Kirk hails the Romulans, but the Romulan commander orders the Enterprise be destroyed. Scotty manages to engage the cloak as Kirk orders a course change. Tal fires based on their last known position, but the Enterprise has already veered off. Spock states the commander has informed him that Romulan sensors can't detect a cloaked ship. Spock escorts her to quarters as the two talk about her being an unwanted passenger. Not so much unwanted, but unwilling. Unintentional, probably the best way to put it. Being an unintentional passenger, how the Federation wanted the cloaking device, and Spock's interests. Spock tells her that he hoped they exchanged something more permanent than fleeting military secrets. As the Enterprise crosses the neutral zone, McCoy calls Kirk to sickbay to bob his ears, to which Spock says they don't look good on humans. Go figure. Alright, folks, let us move behind the scenes. After a swig. DC Fontana's initial inspiration for this story and its title was the Pueblo incident, which involved the capture of an American patrol boat, the USS Pueblo, registry number AGER-2, by North Korean forces during the Vietnam War. The incident occurred January 23, 1968, just 2 months before Fontana completed her first draft story outline. Fontana noted it was really based on the Pueblo incident, in the sense that there's a ship caught spying, and they have to find justification for being there. Kirk's sanity is put on the line in terms of why they're there. Then, of course, they have to get out safely, preferably with the information they came for. Now, that's not what happened with the Pueblo, but the Pueblo incident kicked off this line of thinking in my mind. In Fontana's first draft script, dated June 7, 1968, it is inexplicably stated that the Romulans have an improved, undetectable version of the cloaking device, which was a prismatic type of mechanism. It was stored in a laboratory waiting to be installed on the Romulan ship, rather than an already operational device. Also, in Fontana's original draft, both Kirk and McCoy are disguised as Romulans and steal the cloaking device together. The first draft of the episode stressed the attraction between Spock and the Romulan commander based upon their common heritage. Originally, Spock was supposed to kiss the commander. The first draft script describes Spock as raining kisses on every square inch above the shoulder. But both Nimoy and Linville agreed that they needed something different from normal human love expressions, and suggested the hand contact instead. Nimoy, in fact, wrote a long letter of complaint to Gene Roddenberry about this issue. In Star Trek Lives, Dorothy Fontana tells how she attempted to warn Roddenberry about fan reactions if Spock were to behave out of character. She insisted that Nimoy was right and that the pair's interactions would suggest an alien sexuality but not human passion. Even with Nimoy and Linville's restrained gestural contact, Fontana was flooded with letters from fans. Aware of the Pon farr and believing it meant Vulcans had sex only once in 7 years, which was Teddy Sturgeon's original idea, they complained that the scene was out of character. Years later, Fontana wrote sex scenes in The Vulcan's Glory, establishing that the Pon farr is only a fertility cycle, but the Vulcans can have sex anytime. Thank God for that, for Spock, right? Although long thought otherwise, from the very first draft, the script had the Romulans using Klingon ships. The series had a lot of money invested in the Klingon model and needed to get its money's worth. The episode was originally aired before Elan of Troyes, so when the audience first saw the Klingon ships, they were being used by Romulans. Yeah, that's right. Photographic effects using special mats were produced for the D7 class studio model that, when combined, gave the appearance that three warships had surrounded the Enterprise. The Matt Jeffries designed Romulan signal, composed of a yellow hexagon in the center with three colored spikes coming out of it, can be seen outside the commander's quarters above her door. This symbol never appears again in any Star Trek series or movie. The Romulans use Klingon disruptor pistols, which I thought they were Romulan to begin with. Oh well. The bridge set is reused from Elan of Troyes. Romulans refer to their bridge as Command Central. Excuse me. The Romulan cloaking device prop consists of part of Nomad's head and a globe from Return to Tomorrow. The Romulan console that holds the cloaking device has been used before in iMud in The Return of the Archons and was used again in Whom Gods Destroy. The computer device in the Romulan commander's quarters, used to record Spock testimony, reappeared later in The Lights of Zatar in the decompression chamber room. The top of the device is a round computer monitor without its lower gooseneck part, recycled from the pilot episodes. The globe section of the cloaking device also appears as the mine receptacle of Sargon species in Return to Tomorrow. I don't know why that's in there twice. Both the Romulan commander's uniform and casual attire were designed by William Ware Thies. The commander's uniform was patterned after the male Romulan costume, but like those of her Federation counterparts, it revealed more of her form. In a rare instance, Thies' sketch of the commander's uniform, which appears in Star Trek the original series sketchbook, and resultant costume were identical in appearance. A photo of both the commander's uniform and something more comfortable also appear together in the sketchbook. Unlike in Balance of Terror, the Romulans depicted here don't wear black gloves. That's true, they did wear black gloves then. Alexander Courage returned to compose the music for this episode. Later in the season, he also composed music for Plato's Stepchildren, his last score for Star Trek. In the second season, Courage composed about a half hour of musical cues and conducted some music for the series. This episode is the first to feature a female starship commander. This is the second and final appearance of Romulan characters in the original series. The Romulans have improved their cloaking system since Balance of Terror and the Deadly Years. In the former, Spock refers to it as an invisibility screen that can mask a bird of prey's appearance, but not its motion. In the Enterprise incident, the cloaking device now renders a ship undetectable while moving, and not even the Romulans themselves can track a vessel so equipped. According to the Star Trek The Next Generation companion, Linville was asked to reprise her role as the Romulan commander for the Next Generation episode, Face of the Enemy, but the actress was unavailable. That would have been awesome. That would have been cool to see her in that part, in that series. Kirk's comment that the report of his death was premature is an allusion to Mark Twain responding to an early obituary. Jean-Luc Picard makes a similar comment in Samaritan Snare in Star Trek First Contact, as does Cassidy Yates in What You Leave Behind. This episode depicts transportation of intruders or prisoners between opposing ships as a simple matter done at will. Later incarnations of Star Trek establish that shields prevent the use of a transporter, and both opposing parties must lower them if any transports are to be made. Fontana remarked, overall, it was not a bad episode, but I did have a lot of complaints about it and things that weren't approached or handled right. Let's face it, the romantic scene between the Romulan commander and Spock was totally out of context. Any Romulan worth her salt would have instantly suspected Spock because they are related races. That was wrong. Kirk's attitudes were wrong. A simple thing, the cloaking device was supposed to be a very small thing, about the size of a watch, for instance, and it could be easily hidden. Here, Kirk's running around with this thing that looks like a lamp. Highly visible. This is stupidity as well as illogical thinking. Visually, it was stupid. Conceptually, it was very bad. There were a lot of things, little things that were changed, but my biggest objection is the scene between Spock and the woman, because I really did not believe it. And I did not believe that the Romulan did not suspect Spock of something underhanded. She does know enough about Vulcan and Vulcans to know that something's afoot. And in the here's some remastered information for this one. The Enterprise incident was the 64th episode of the remastered version of the original series to air. It premiered in syndication on the weekend of 5 April 2008, and aside from the standard CGI replacement footage of the Enterprise, this episode notably featured several new effect shots of the Romulan D-7 battlecruiser. While the remastered scenes remained true to the original, two significant changes in the visual effects. The Romulan bird of prey as the third surrounding vessel, and the addition of the Romulan bird of prey markings on the underside of the ship's hull. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for that one. Let me finish my tea. Ooh. It's dead, Jim. Now, folks, before I sign off, I want to show you something real quick. I mentioned Mom earlier. This was a Christmas gift that she gave me while we were home. Up top, Merry Christmas. Star Trek logos. This one's hidden by my comm badge. Phasers. An Enterprise. What appears to be Romulan ships. Live long and prosper, and live long and prosper. Folks, I wanted to show you that real quick before I signed off. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I want to thank you for giving of your time to me for this here show that I do. I am truly honored that you give me your time, and I ask you to keep watching, be it on tablet, phone, computer, Apple TV, or, smart TV. However you watch me, please continue doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make like the Enterprise and warp out. Everybody take care. Have an awesome night or day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and if you do, name it after me. Don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. More importantly, you might kill yourself or someone else. Drinking and driving is dumber than being a Twilight fan. And what's worse than that is rooting for cheating bastards like Tom. Giselle won't let me go to the Pro Bowl, and I can't engage in random acts of kindness without the paparazzi, or nobody's going to believe I do this shit. Brady, men slapping women, racism, animal abuse, fake friends, people who welch on bets, or anyone who is a member of, supports, or defends ISIS, or the Westboro Baptist Church, who tried to picket Leonard Nimoy's funeral but couldn't because they couldn't find it. Things like that are highly illogical, and I will not make time for them. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope your holidays were awesome. I look forward to seeing you next year on Stardate 160101 at the earliest. And as always, live long and prosper.